Capricorn, hi, come on in, great to see you, just in time for your Capricorn February 2020 reading. Just a couple of announcements to make before we get underway. The first one is that a lot of people have been asking me whether I do personal readings for them. Well, now, because of how I'm rescheduling other activities that I'm doing, the answer is yes, I can fit in some time to do that. So if you go to the description box below the video, you'll see my email address. Just drop me an email and we can go from there. The second thing is that because of the way I've shifted my workloads, what I'm going to do is I'm going to upload videos in the first week of the month for the following month. So for example, the first week of February, we'll see the videos for the March month come into effect. It does two things. First of all, it allows me to actually accomplish more and get things done and work my schedule. And the other thing is it gives you the opportunity to allow the messages to sink in, and you can go back and have a look at them again when the month comes up. So those messages will sink into your psyche, if you like, and you'll be prepared for them. And finally, a lot of people ask me what the artwork is behind me, and it is this. And so there you go, and I think that represents really quite succinctly what it is that I do anyway. But look, let's get things underway, and I'm going to pull a card which is the theme for you for this month from some indigenous art, and it is surprise. I'm also going to take some playing cards, and I'm going to pull 3 playing cards which I'll look at the end of the tarot section of your reading, because they can sometimes give quite a minute and detailed description as to what's liable to be happening. And they are the 3 of clubs, whatever that is, the 7 of clubs, what's this, the 9 of spades. Okay, and here we have the tarot section, and let's get some cards for you, shall we? Just the usual 5. The artwork on this is really quite beautiful. Like a Capricorn woman, just quite beautiful. I've always found the Capricorn women to be beautiful. My first love was a Capricorn woman, and she broke my heart. And that must have happened more than once, I can tell you. Anyway, well, look, it's all good, isn't it? You know, you gotta keep coming back. That's the way. That's the 4 of flames, incidentally. That is the 6 of cups. Excuse me while I choke. It's just such a good card. The 3 of flames. Excuse me. The Father of Cups. I wonder what the Father of Cups has to say for you. And the 3 of Cups. Hey, lots of relationships stuff going on by the looks of it. Anyway, let's look at all of these cards and see what they mean for you. My beloved Capricorn, well, here we go. Straight from the starter's pistol is the message that has first come through to you from the spirit realm. You are in for a good surprise. Something that you did not expect, but which is, well, it just makes you really happy and fantastic. It's such a good vibe to have. And I think that this is the real theme of this reading for you, that it's a time of happiness. It's a time of overcoming those difficulties which you've had in the past. This is very much saying that what was there is now changed and things are going forward. Tremendous thing to have first up. Let's have a look to see whether or not these tarot cards can shed any further light on that theme. Well, here we have this, what I might call a central energy of the tarot, being this 3 of flames. What we can say about the Three of Flames is it's the fire of creativity, a song gathering, something in the world of the unknown and bringing it into the world of the known. Sounds originating from the pulsating rhythms of your body, audible breath, daring to express yourself, red light flowing through your throat, modulating soft and loud sounds, playing with vocals and consonants, and back to the Om, the primal sound, the mother of all sounds. The atmosphere filling itself with sound, something new is being born in your life, something new and beneficial. Now, what is the astrology telling me? The sun in the first decan of... No, it's not. It's in the second decan, I think, of Aries at 31st of March to the 9th of April. The sun in ordinary astrology is also exalted in Aries, and so this placement is really very, very favorable for you. Now, Aries enjoys a challenge, and Aries suns are happiest when their lives are moving forward and active. And I think that really for you, this is what is going to be happening. You are now moving forward. You've put behind you the problems of last year, I think, and saying to yourself, it's time to move things forward. And this is a time of looking inside and outside with integrity, honesty, and no compromise. I think you should also probably check the integrity of somebody who is maybe an Aries person or with an Aries ascendant. Just check whether the words that they speak actually they intend to follow through on it. But for you, I think it's important to operate from a place of integrity is the message that I'm getting here. Integrity before you make a decision. And have clarity of mind and heart before taking any action. Otherwise, bad results will come about. But if you do have clarity, then now is the time to act. There may have been some ill-thought-out actions in the past, and these are now disappearing. They're going away. Well, the consequences of them are going away. Here's the Four of Flames. Let's have a look to see what it says, because you've got the 3 and the 4 together. Very interesting. Yeah, well, the energy that I'm getting up here is really the fire of shaping. The unshaped purple fire of the Earth's core touches the heavenly fire of the sun. The fires of your body and mind work together, refining and strengthening each other. Forces of polarity structuring themselves in waves of golden light. Now, astrologically for me, this is Venus in the third decan of Aries. Yeah, I think this is in the third decan. Venus in the third decan. Now, in ordinary astrology, you'll know that Venus is the ruler of Taurus and also of Libra. But I'm very much getting the positive feminine energy of Libra coming up around here, and balance as well. And so I'm looking at Venus's attribution to Libra. Now, for Venus to move from Libra into Aries, it basically needs to go to the opposite side of the zodiac wheel. And if that's the case, the astrologers on YouTube will tell you Venus will be in detriment, which it is when it's in Aries. Venus is in detriment there. And of course, Mars is the ruler of Aries in astrology. And so we have Venus coming in to join Mars, and we might think, uh-oh, Venus and Mars together, big problem. But in this case, I think that the gentle, womanly charms of Venus serve to subdue and tame the beast of the aggressive and fiery Mars, such that there is some sort of opposites attract action going on. You may well find that you are in the position where there is something that you haven't done before because you haven't had any interest in it. You're now starting to think to yourself, do you know what, I'm going to try this. And not only are you going to try it, but you're going to like it. Or it could be a new area in your workplace that you start to pursue. And you go, oh, look, I've been doing this type of work, now I'm going to do this type of work, and I actually enjoy doing it. Or it could also mean that there is somebody that you haven't looked at before, who you now do look at, and in fact they're looking back at you, and there you go. You know what happens next. It can also mean with Venus that you have an emotional desire, that's Venus, to move off Aries in some sort of a new direction, to change a direction in which you've been previously heading. It could also mean that there is one part of you who wants to move in one direction, while another part of you wants to move in another direction. Now you've got cups everywhere here. Let's have a look at, you've got the Three of Cups, the Six, and the Father. Let's have a look at the Father of Cups first. There's the Father. You know, with this Father of Cups here, he's an interesting character, the Father of Cups. It may well be that someone who's important to you around this time is an Aquarius or a Pisces, because I'm getting that energy which is coming up from around it. I think what we can also say here is that if we look at the personality of the person, I think it's a man, although with court cards they can of course be male or female in real life. It's just that they happen to be drawn this way. It's the energy that's important. But I'll refer to him as a man, and a man with commitment issues. Somebody who's kind of, you know, good-natured but sort of passive, and somebody who is attracted to excitement. Someone who I think can have a sort of an unsustainable enthusiasm for this, and then for that, and then for that, but something that's not followed through. Somebody who I think is kind of sensitive but shallow. Now, as the adult male, esoterically he's fire, and in the Suit of Cups, water. So you've got the fiery part of water, and when you put fire and water together, you've got someone who's therefore got some sort of an inherent conflict in their nature, don't you? Well, that's what happens when you put fire and water together, isn't it? But what else can we say about the person that we're looking at here? I think he's got some things to say to you. I think he's someone who talks of inner contentment and great happiness, which radiates outward. And I think that you will be seen to have great happiness and contentment, and you'll be able to enrich those people around you, either emotionally or with your good humor, or with or even spiritually, just by acting as a good companion to somebody. Here is a guy who needs constant reassurance for someone, from other people, from himself, because he can be uncertain of himself, and I think he feels that he can't get what he wants in love and relationships. And so he has periods of self-doubt, I think, where he does need reassurance from other people. And you know what? We all have periods of self-doubt, and there's nothing to be concerned about there. So you should feel free to go and get reassurance from someone. This character is, I think, at best loving and generous. He's quite supportive and tender. But they're really not in your life for very long if it's somebody else. And again, I'm getting Pisces and Aquarius around it, or with those ascendants. He can, I think, also sometimes lack energy and inspiration. You may yourself feel from time to time that you lack a little bit of energy and inspiration, but I think that this is just a necessary respite from, more productive times that are going on. I think the other thing I'll say about this person is this, and the lesbian and gay community can please make the necessary adjustment, but he loves the opposite sex, and the opposite sex loves him. But he's not going to be around in their life for very long. I think he's someone who's really ruled by emotions, not very practical, and I've got to tell you that I really do feel that he's somebody who tends to use his charm to flatter people rather than pick up his share of the expenses, is what I'm getting from him. I do think, however, though, that it's a very good time in your life, but this person, at worst, can be unfaithful, fickle, shallow, I think, highly emotional, and look, at the end of the day, I'm going to say it, just unreliable. Now let's have a look at some more cards from the Cups suit, shall we? And this first one that we're going to look at is, of course, the Three of Cups. And what I'm really getting around here are like festivities or celebrating, sharing things. Not actually leaving, but kind of stepping out of the cozy limits of some twosome intimacy or relationship. There are going to be, I think, new contacts that you are going to make in your life. The boundaries of everyday life will shift and expand. Now, forget your worries, but don't suppress them. Let them come to the surface and deal with them, because this is the time of a new beginning for you, a fluid sense of being in the present. Images and roles that you've created in your mind, they actually are going to change, and they're going to change around. I think there is a sort of a celebration unfolding, and there's a real cleansing of your spirit, I think. Heavy emotions that you had are going to transform into lightness and joy, and you're going to really start to enjoy yourself, and so you should. And isn't it about time, you probably say to yourself. Now, astrologically, what am I getting? I'm getting Mercury in the second decan of Cancer, 2nd to the 11th of July. Look, this is really the Lord of Abundance. Mercury in Cancer. Well, Cancer is the most maternal of the signs, and it's well placed here also with this number 3, because the number 3 for me mystically relates to gestation, to pregnancy, to the development of the fetus in there. So that goes with Cancer, and I think that's well placed here with this number 3. I think what we have here is, well, because Cancer's good. I mean, Cancer people communicate with feeling, and they're kind of sensitive and withdrawn, aren't they? And they have a thoughtful, gentle, intuitive nature. Sometimes I can come across as a bit defensive, but that probably is not without good reason, I think. I think that life is going to be feeling good for you. It's about sharing success with others, and life is going to be feeling really very good for you. Let's have a look at the 6 above it, because this is an absolute sensational energy that's coming through here. Let's have a look. Well, in a nutshell, I refer to this as the Lord of Pleasure. It's the Sun in the second decan of Scorpio, about the 3rd to the 12th of November. Now, we've got a double dose of the Sun here, because this 6 for me, esoterically, is governed by the Sun as well. So we have the Sun in the astrology of the card and the Sun in the card. And I think that double Sun reveals what Scorpio wants to hide. This is all about pleasure, indulgence. And I've got to tell you, it's a lot about sexual pleasure and excitement, communication with ancestors even, and also family support. I think you'll be getting or providing support to people who are in your family or extended family. The pleasure that's coming here in this sexual pleasure and fantasy life that you may have, so you can have fantasies or you can act them out, but the pleasure is completely harmonized, because the zodiacal sign for me, Scorpio, which is ruling this card, well, pleasure here is rooted in its most convenient soil, because Scorpio is in the 8th house, and that's to do with sex and with transformation. So this is a preeminently fertile card, and really it's one of the best in the pack altogether, I think. Now, as I say, the emphasis on the card is about sexuality, and whether that's in your mind or whether you're playing it out. But it's also about pleasure, I think, which can well have been achieved after much hardship, because I'm just looking at this sort of color scheme around here, and it's just evoking that sort of feeling up for me. I think you may well also have been undergoing a period of some healing. I think you've been undergoing a period of healing, haven't you, really? You've had some respite, and you're sort of going through some changes and some transformations. And I think that the emphasis here really is also on relationship, or on the desire to have a relationship, I think. But a relationship where 1 and 1 equals 4. So where the whole is greater than the sum of the parts. Well, shall we have a look at these cards here? Because they may have some messages for you as well. Let's have a quick look, shall we? Now, looking at this card here first is what? The 3 of Clubs. Well, it's really, the 3 here is also about creation, thinking, social interacting, very much though to do with thoughts and thinking about things. 3 is extensions, development and growth. Now, there could be a third party coming in relation to something that's going on in your life. Generally, this is a card of great mental creativity. Now, it can sometimes be the card of worry and indecision and mental stress in relation to something. And traditionally, it can also represent fighting. But I think that this is recognizing, I think, the theme of the cards that have come through to you to date, that the time for ruminating over past difficulties is gone. Now, as to this card, the 7 of Clubs, this often refers to repercussions from decisions that you've made, or consequences which are to be paid or to be received. It can refer to introspection, soul-searching, turning things over in your mind, solitude. Arguments and opposition can occur when this card appears, and so don't expect there to be no arguments in your life with other people. There will be. There could well be, and this can sometimes mean, romantic interference from somebody else. And when this turns up, I'd say be careful of trouble from the opposite sex. This can sometimes mean that gambling and addiction could be or become an issue. And it can sometimes mean that a state of confusion or crossroads exists. But I think that these things are past, and the reason why I'm saying that they're past is because this 9 here, which is the sacred number, has this to say. I think there have been things which have occurred in your past which have resulted in a loss or in some disappointment for you. It also says to me that there's going to be an ending of some kind. Now, you are going through a very rejuvenating period here where you're starting to press on, maybe even heading in a whole new direction. So it may well be that you are ending a direction that you are on and you are changing course, you're moving in a new direction, or you're taking on additional responsibilities or something like that. Sometimes there can be a change that occurs in your life that is unwelcome, but which actually turns out to be for the best. It turns out to be for the best. Sometimes it can represent, and this is in relation to somebody else, is what I'm getting here. I have a feeling here that you have some anxiety about somebody else who is ill. There can be, I think, a period here where it could be gravely ill, but it's not imminent. It's something where something's going to occur maybe in the next 12 months to 2 years, I see, where there could you may hear of a death. So it's not you, but I think that you will hear of someone who is ill and who is, as a result, can be at a personal low. as a result of their illness, which could well have occurred as a result of an accident. Well, that's the way it is for you this month. Well, there you go. It looks like it's going to be an absolutely fantastic month for you, and that's great because you deserve it. And I have to say, you were fantastic during that reading. All that remains for me to say is this, and remember it always, that you are a legend, and I look forward to seeing you again next month. Until then, bye for now.